Justice Andres Reyes, you have the floor, sir.
Yes, I'd like to thank Senator Pangilinan, Animo, and Senate President Vicente Soto for this invitation. We thank you because our laws, our creation needs more powers, more refinement. Again, I will just echo what you have said earlier, that this thing is outrageous and makes me cry that how can these people get away with 500 billion pesos? It's our inspiration to work hard. We are only 39 days old. ICI is only 39 days old. For the last 21 days, we only had 3 lawyers. And now we have some volunteers from the PAO and from the other agencies. But we will try our best to be able to full blast investigation of all this fraud. We don't have the facility and we don't have the rules of procedure, but we will already shorten the procedure in spite of no rules allowing us. We will now go on live stream next week. Once we get to be able to have the technical capability with us already. So again, I repeat, we'll be doing live stream next week. And thank you po.
Thank you, Justice Reyes, and that is welcome news that the ICI will do live streaming of its proceedings. People would like to know the facts of these cases and would like to be updated as to the developments and the progress of the investigation. And a live streaming of the proceedings will definitely address this concern of the public. Thank you very much. Secretary Babe Singson, do you have an opening statement? Please go ahead. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Senator Pangilinan, and good afternoon to Senate President Tito Soto. Sir, Your Honor, after being in DPWH for 6 years, full 6 years, I could not believe what I was hearing in terms of the magnitude of the corruption. And I tried to analyze, where did the system fail? It looked like it was all over. This is what we've learned so far after we've called witnesses. I think a total of 40 plus have been invited, including 8 senators, 4 congressmen, 4 secretaries, and several other personalities. But recognizing that the procedure, the legal process that we have to follow is so tedious. Bago po may makulong, ang haba ho ng proseso. As compared, you may want to consider, as compared to the 2 gold standards of anti-corruption, which is the ICAC of Hong Kong and the CPIB of Singapore. They have much more powers than all 3 of these agencies that we have combined. Now, as a result of the difficulty and because of the very strong clamor of our people, because of the massive corruption all over the place, under the leadership of Chairman Reyes, we invited a total of 20 government agencies to find out from them what are their administrative powers that we can immediately utilize in collaboration with these agencies. Marami po pala niyan. So we hope that the committee can consider some of these provisions. For example, under the Philippine Competition Commission, you have anti-competition provisions or bid rigging of bids that will penalize for the first instance immediately 100 million. Second instance, 105, 110, all the way to 250 million pesos per incident. We have also identified in other agencies like customs, like CAAP, but more telling is an old executive order, specifically 913. Senator President, 913 is the, you might want to pick up some of those provisions in EO 913 that gives immediate whole departure order, immediate seizure of assets. Marami pala yun na pwedeng gamitin. So if it is already there, it is just a matter of putting all of them under your proposed bill, Mr. Senator. So with that, I will end my opening statement because I can discuss further details in terms of where, how much, and so on. But I will leave it up to the Senate.
Thank you, Secretary Babes. Just to clarify, EO 913 is a DTI executive order.
It's a presidential executive order,
But
empowering the then Minister of Trade.
okay, DTI. Thank you. From the Makati Business Club, Apa Ongpin, the Executive Director, please, you have the floor. Go ahead.
Thank you. Oops. Lakas naman. I'll try to keep it as brief as possible. One, we believe that all the ICI sessions should be public, but that the ICI itself should have the authority to declare confidential sessions with no streaming or broadcast. Okay? Because, speaking as a former journalist, this can very easily turn into a circus. I mean, it already has in some cases. Okay? And, the accused are, they're entitled to due process. And, we cannot turn this into a public shaming exercise. No? We want to emphasize that the ICI, as the Senate President has already pointed out, should have additional expanded powers. They should be judicial, investigative, and even confiscatory, like the PCGG used to have. So power of subpoena, power to declare in contempt, and which includes arrest and hold orders after due process. Okay. The commission, whatever we call it, should have the authority to file cases without going through the ombudsman, the DOJ, the Attorney General. We believe it should be that powerful. We propose that the commission be expanded far beyond its current. I mean, there's 20 of these guys right now. It needs to be maybe 10 times the size just to deal with the huge volume of cases, let alone the huge volume of money involved. No? And it should be expanded beyond infrastructure. What we're seeing now, as I think Professor Abante will tell you, is that these guys, the same guys in Congress, and they're worming their way in now to the ayuda, into the social welfare programs. Diba? That's how they're trying to take the money. It's beyond infrastructure. And as we've always said, we want eyes on Bureau of Customs and Bureau of Internal Revenue. Let's not pretend that there's no corruption there. The ICI or the group should have fiscal autonomy and security of tenure. I mean, in order to be really independent, okay? We believe that, and in fact, future appointments need to be approved by a wider group than just the president at this point. It's just the palace who's appointing people to this thing. No? And finally, we feel that, like Secretary Singson has said, we should look to the examples of Hong Kong and Singapore, and study the charters of those organizations, because although they have slightly different legal systems, those organizations have been very, very effective, obviously, in comparison to our own past experience.
Thank you very much, Apa Ongpin of the Makati Business Club. We now have People's Budget Coalition. Professor Kenneth Abante, go ahead, you have the floor. Where do you teach, Professor?
I teach at the Kennedy School the summers, Mr. Chair.
Oh, okay. My school. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair, Senate President Soto, honorable members of the committee. We are the People's Budget Coalition. Kami po ay grupo ng more than 40 people's organizations and civil society organizations pushing for a transparent, participatory, and accountable budget process. Inaral po namin yung insertions and yung budget documents over the past 20 years. Allow us to share inputs po on what we've found. I think going directly to the subject of today's hearing, we in the People's Budget Coalition support the urgent passage of the Independent People's Commission Bill, empowering it with the powers of contempt, mandating that hearings be open by default unless there are critical meetings that need to be kept confidential, that it be given fiscal autonomy, and that it proactively disclose the tracking of cases pending before the judiciary related to cases of corruption. I was listening to Representative Chel Jokno's interview yesterday about some cases pending before the Sandigan Bayan aging 40 years, Mr. Chair. We think these are critical to be resolved. Today is the first anniversary of severe tropical storm Christine. I am a typhoon survivor and disaster response volunteer that unfortunately we are victims of this massive corruption scandal. Unfortunately, and the tragic truth, Mr. Chair, is that we have lost trust in the integrity of our budget, procurement, and justice systems. We organized rescue relief medical missions in communities po na 2 linggo baha sa Bicol region. There were teachers who needed to do GCash drives in order for their students to go back to school because all their learning kits and even their houses were destroyed by this massive typhoon. Rainfall worse than Ondoy, Mr. Chair and Senate President Soto. That is why our hearts break whenever we heard the news that the 18 major river basin master plans, the major river basin master plans would have just cost 700 to 800 billion pesos. Pero po yung ginastos na sa flood control over the past 10 years ay around 1.7 trillion. Meaning, kung naayos po pala natin yung sistema ng pagplano, sana kami sa Bicol ay hindi binaha ng ganun kalala. Sana po ay ang mga teachers ay hindi nawalan ng mga bahay. Sana po ay hindi sana namatayan at nagkaroon ng serious injury yung aming mga kapwa Bicolano. So this Independent People's Commission Bill is to us an important cry for help and justice. It is one of the demands of more than 320 organizations and individuals, including Cardinal Ambo David and our bishops, calling for systemic reform after the flood control scandal. We will give you a copy of this statement, Mr. Chair, for the record, and calling for the elimination of pork patronage and opaque budgets in the House version of the budget. At least 256 billion pesos still in the House version of the budget, Mr. Chair. The people are angry. The people want justice. And one of the reasons why we're discussing the Independent People's Commission bill is because in our discussions, we lost trust in the previous ombudsman that was not able to file cases aggressively for those with highest crimes. We consider our justice system to have two tiers, one for the rich and one for the poor. Nauna pa pong makulong ang mga nagprotesta laban sa katiwalian kaysa sa mga tiwali. And lastly, Mr. Chair, we wanted to give the Commission and the committee a sense of proportion about the current flood control scandal. It is only a drop in the bucket, Mr. Chair. The Sumbong sa Pangulo website has around 547 billion pesos worth of flood control projects. Over the same time period, 2018 to 2025, around 1.2 trillion pesos po yung actual na flood control budget. So we have to ask, what happened to the rest of the half? Have these been completed? We need to know, and the people deserve to know. And then finally, Mr. Chair, with regard to the insertions, it's actually only, flood control is actually only the minimal insertions to the budget. Kahit na mukhang malaki, the real insertions over the past years where there is data from 2018 to 2025, 828 billion pesos po yung may congressional insertions to the Convergence and Special Support Program, to the local program 237 billion, to the Asset Preservation Program around 163 billion, and yung flood management program po only around net of 22.8 billion pesos. So we're only seeing, a minuscule amount dito po sa flood control budget, and we hope that the Independent People's Commission can also look into these even more massive insertions that happen. We are happy to also share our findings about each of the reforms to the budget preparation, to the budget legislation, execution and accountability stage that we saw vulnerabilities of. But I will pause my statement for now, Mr. Chair, Senate President Soto. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat.
Thank you very much, Professor Abante.